So last week you looked at point slope form. We're going to spend a little more time today just kind of looking at that and reviewing it. So if you remember from last week, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember that m is still your slope, right? And then you have a point on the graph, which is that x1, y1. So two biggest things you'll do is look at writing the equation and then graphing the equation. All right. So if I were to write this equation, I'm just plugging in things that I know. It might be helpful for you to label this as x1 and y1, right? My m is already labeled for me. So I can say that I have y minus y1, so y minus 4 equals my slope times x minus x1, or x minus 3. And there is how I write my equation. Okay? Similar thing over here, right? My hopefully label x1, y1. So, start plugging that stuff in, right? So y minus y1 is 4 equals my slope times x minus x1. Now in here I notice that I have a minus negative 2. So I can write that as I'm really going to add 2. So there is my equation. And then looking at graphing these, right? Now it's very similar to our slope-intercept form graphing, except for now we're not starting at the y-intercept, but we're starting at a point. So I would still in each of these label my slope, right? So this one's 1/2, and my point, right? Remember, x comes first, and when I look, right, the x value here, because it's a minus, that means when I kind of pull it out and graph it, it's going to be a positive. Same thing here, right? Y minus 2. So when I pull it out to graph it, the y value is going to be positive. So when I start at 6, 2, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. And then I use my slope of 1/2 to figure out my graph, right? So up 1 over 2. And once I have that, I can connect my dots and I have my line. So do the same thing over here and say, well, my slope is going to be that 4/5, right? And then my point, look at my x value and say, okay, because my x value is a positive, x value on the graph is going to be a negative. And then I look at my y value, right? Positive 3. So when I graph this, it's going to be a negative 3. So that's just always that whole part of the signs of the points are always opposite. So I start over here making a point at -1, -3. And then I use my slope of 4/5. So up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 5. And then I can connect my dots and I've got my line there.